Guys, all the cars that you see in these videos are for sale on my website, www.woodsandbarclay.com. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the series on the Black Pearl, the 1985 300 SD. And today you can see that I have it covered in plastic because today I'm going to work on the rear suspension. And I always like to refinish the suspension parts in the original factory semi-gloss black. And I don't want to get any, paint overspray at all on this car. So let me show you back here. So the way I do this, oh, by the way, there's the new tires have been mounted on the original wheels. And you can see I just have a gallon of acetone there. And before I start any work back here, I know it's dark, but I just like, see all the original semi-gloss black is still on here, but it's like just covered in, a little bit of a layer of grime. So I want to wipe all that off, wipe off the axles here, and then refinish that in the semi-gloss black. And then we're going to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and, hey boys, what are y'all doing? That's Jefferson's new buddy, Bear. Hey Bear, can you say hello? No, okay. Don't climb on those tires. But anyway, before I start refinishing, I'm just going to leave, the old brakes, the sway bar end links, the old shocks. I'm going to leave all that connected because when I put the new stuff on there, I don't want to get any overspray on it. And guys, you really don't have to refinish the rear suspension or any suspension. I'm just a real stickler for how my suspension looks. So I want to get it cleaned up real nice, refinish it, and then put on all the new parts, and it just really pops and looks nice when you do that. So let me go ahead and get started with cleaning, and then I'll go ahead and refinish it in the semi-gloss, and I'll be back in a second. All right, I know it's kind of hard to see, but you can see all the dirt on here, and I just want to get that off. And this is acetone. Acetone is just a great solvent. It will remove dirt and grease and contaminants and just prep the surface for me to respray it. So I literally just soak a rag in it and then I can start wiping all that dirt off of there. See how that all that gunk comes off? Clean it up. It was just like covered in a coating of dust back here. Yeah, that's really nice. So let me go and just wipe all this down. Yeah, there's our factory markings. See the yellow and blue on our spring back here. Let me just wipe this down real well. And this is going to take me a little while. I just want to get it real clean back here. And I will be back in a minute. Oh, and we're also replacing all of the rear brakes, rotors, original calipers, hoses, all of that stuff. All right, guys, it's the next day. And I'm out here in daylight looking at the rear end suspension parts, and here we go. Now that it's dried out pretty good, the acetone that I cleaned it with, you can see the original factory paint is thin right in here and right up in here. So I do want to go ahead and refinish this. Now what I've done, I covered up the original factory color code markings on the springs, so I don't spray over those. And so let me go ahead and refinish all this, and I'll be back in a second. Here's the before picture right here. All right, there we go. Everything is still drying, but you can see that looks much better. I peel off the tape, see we still have our markings on our springs up there. Now I'm taking off all these nasty calipers and shocks and all that, so it'll look really nice once I get the new parts on here. That just looks better. It's back to the original factory semi-gloss. And like I said, guys, this is totally unnecessary, but I'm just OCD and I like my suspension to look really nice. So I went ahead and refinished it. Yeah, see, all that has been refinished up here on the front of the car. See how nice all that looks? So now the back of the car back here matches it, See how that's all real nicely refinished. Anyway, enough of that. Jefferson, do you have a new friend over there? Hey, Bear. How's it going? Hey, Jefferson. Jefferson, what do you think of this little puppy? You really don't care, do you? Oh, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and get these old brakes off of here. This is a 19 millimeter. And we're just going to let these hang because we're replacing the hoses anyway. Oh, I see the brake. Wow, the brake pads back here are brand new. Yeah, I mean, that's that's all really good shape. The main reason we're doing this is because this is, 40 years old. And there's no telling when a 40-year-old caliper is going to start leaking. So, but I can see the pads back here are brand new. Here, there you go, look at that. Those pads have zero wear on them. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the rotor off of here. Oh yeah, I can tell the emergency brake pads are like awesome condition because if they weren't thick and they were worn down, this would just slip right off. But I'm having to work it off a little bit. Oh yeah, check that out. They're like full thickness. All right, so what I like to do back here on the rear hubs, I like to go ahead and hit that with a light sanding and then apply some anti-seize back here. So there's never a risk of the rotor, getting stuck to the hub. But other than that, it looks fantastic back here. And that's normal to get that little surface corrosion on these hubs. So let me go ahead and sand that down. And all we do, guys, is just hit that with a little like 150. And just get it nice and smoothed out. I mean, these were already in really nice condition to start with. And then I just want to put a little bit of anti-seize on there. Not much, you just put a little around here. And you just rub it in with your finger. Like that. And then that'll prevent any corrosion, when you're like 100,000 miles later or whatever. That'll make it where it's really easy to pull off your rotors in the future. Okay, while I have this all off, let's go ahead and do the sway bar end link on here. Okay, this is kind of tough for you guys to see, but you see the sway bar end link goes into our hub right there. That's a 17 millimeter. And then we have a 17 millimeter there. So it's kind of hard to record that due to, you see where it's located. It's like up in there. I can't get the camera in there, but I'll get my 17 millimeter. I'll take this out and I'll put our new one in and show you when the new one's installed. I'll see if I can kind of demonstrate. So what you have to do, you have to get a shave, make your wrench shaved down. See how it's shaved there? And that allows me to get right up in there. See, it's kind of hard to record that. Sorry guys, but see how we've got it right on there? Then we can crack that loose. There we go. There we go. There we go. I just cracked it loose. And now I have to very tediously keep doing that until I get the bottom disconnected here. All right, I got it disconnected from the bottom and the top. And there you go. I'll show you this next to the new one. There you go. There's our crusty old one. And you see how the ball joint boot is deteriorated. And that's just kind of flopping around in there. And that'll fail and these little things will break. And then your sway bar will bang around in the back. There you go. There's our new one. See how it has that nice protective boot there? See how much stiffer that is? All right, so let's go ahead and get this on the car. Okay, and there we go. Our freshly installed sway bar end link. That'll last you many years. All right, same as on the front of the car. I have my new brake hose here. I just put a cap on it. We want to undo this old one, and then we'll quickly... Now, I need to get a 14 millimeter and hold it still down here so it doesn't turn. Down here. Now we can hold the hose still and crack loose the line up here. Let's see. There we go. That has not been off in like, I guess, 40 years. Okay. All right, when this drops, I just want to quickly connect our new hose. And we're going to have to bleed the brakes and flush through all the old fluid anyway. I just try not to spill a lot when I'm doing this. Okay, there we go. So you can see we got like 3 or 4 drips, and that's it. Screw this one back up in here. Okay, let me take the plug out of our new ATE caliper and take the cap off here. And then this is the, make sure this is the right side. Yeah, and then this is kind of the tricky part. You got to get the threads to start at the same time as fluid dripping all over you. Sometimes I get lucky, and like that time, and it went straight in. Okay, good. Now, let me get our rotor. Now, guys, don't freak out in the comments section. It's okay if your caliper hangs there from the line for like a minute. It's not going to hurt anything. Now, your rotor, you have a locating pin, a dowel pin. Right there, that locating pin lines up there. There we go. And then our caliper can go right back on there. Now, let me get our mounting hardware. And ATE provides all new mounting hardware. And they already apply the blue Loctite from the factory. It's already on the threads. All right, let me just get one of these started. Okay, it's already starting to look pretty good. Check that out. All right, let's get our fresh pads in there, torque everything down. These down. All right, got the torque wrench here. There we go. All right. Okay, I just slipped in our pads. There we go. And ATE gives us a new pad retaining bracket and our new pin, same as on the front of the car. All right, let's tap those in from the rear. And these work just like you saw on the fronts, guys. You just put a punch right there. That damn hose is in the way. There we go. All right. Now, it looks like the hose is already pretty straight. I don't need to adjust it. Let me just tighten it down. Once I tighten it down, I might need to readjust it so there's not a kink in it. See, normally when you go to tighten this down here, it'll kink it. Actually, let me go tighten the top. Yeah, this one's going to have a little kink, so let me adjust that. There we go. See, I like to have them a smooth curve. You see lots of mechanics, they put it on there, torque it, and this is like, you know, twisted like that. Guys, you don't want your brake hoses to be like that. You want no stress on it, and you want a smooth curve on it. So we're going to grab right there. All right, there we go. Perfect. All right, our beautiful new brakes. And up there, a beautiful new sway bar end link. Now let's go ahead and get the shock out. Now keep in mind, I have to do all this on the other side of the car too, but I'll just show you that when I'm done. Let's get our shock out. All right, we're under the car. Here's our shock. And I think these are 17 millimeter. Yeah, there we go. There we go. It's just 2 bolts in there. Now we need to go up in the car and actually remove the back seat to under the top of the shock. Then it's going to slide out down here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get our shocks prepped to install in the rear. And Bilstein gives us new hardware. And let's see here. We have our bushing. All right, let's go ahead. What I'm going to do is just insert the new hardware loosely on the bottom of the old shocks. That way they don't fall out of the car when I disconnect them at the top. All right, so to get, what we got to do is get our back seat out. Remember, those are the parts I had from when I removed the glove box and the wood trim from up there. But to get our seat out, well, we have to get our seat out to get access to the shocks and also the fuel level sending unit. I always clean those out and then reinstall them. But to do that, you have a button, there we go, right there. All right, there we go. That side is disconnected. And then I need to do that on the other side, and we can pull our seat bottom out and then get access to the three, I think they're 10 millimeter or 8 millimeter little screws down here to get our seat back out. All right, clearly that has never been out of the car before. Look how nice it is under here. There's all the original insulation. But down here, we have, 8 millimeter there. And then we have one right, see if you can see it, right there. And then on the other side, we need to undo those, and then I can pull this seat back out. Okay, got it. Move our seat belts out of the way. And there we go. Now for this seat back, I can just actually move that right there and lean it up against the back seat. Okay, once we have that disconnected, all we have to do is unclip our insulation here. We'll fold it back. And there we go. This gives us access to the fuel level sending unit, and that gives us access to the top of the shock. All right, let me see if I can do this one-handed while I hold the camera. So basically you grab a screwdriver, you just stick it right behind there. There we go. And we twist that out. There we go. All right. We'll just put that down here in the floorboard, and there we go. There's the top of our shock. That's that little plate I was talking about earlier. So we're going to use that flat plate to go back on the top, and then the little concave plate underneath. Now, those are 17 millimeter lock nuts, so we got to get a wrench to hold the bottom one still while we undo the top one. Now, before I do that, let's go ahead, get our fuel level sending unit cap off. Oops, sorry, I got it off camera. There we go. We got that off. All right, and there's our fuel level sender. So guys, those get clogged up with just diesel is dirty. So it's always a good idea to remove it and clean it. And once you do that, it'll be good for the next 30 years. Have a special in-car camera view. I got it set up over there on the passenger side, but what we need to do is use this shaved down 17 millimeter wrench. We got to hold that on the bottom, and then we want to come in here on the top, and we want to get that top nut off. All right, there we go. Now, once we have that nut off, if we're lucky, we can turn it. There we go. So now I need to grab my other wrench. Now, if it starts spinning, you're going to have to hold the top of the shock, but in this case, we're good. It's attached to the control arm, but now we can get the top off, and here is our bushing. And now this shock is free and can be pulled out of the bottom. All right, I need to do that on the passenger side, and then I'll be back. Okay, I got the shock disconnected over here and over here. Next, let's go ahead and remove our fuel level sending unit. You can see it right there. We're just going to unplug it. Now, there's a special tool. I have a couple of them. I got these from Kent out at Mercedes Source. It's just a big, it's a big socket. I think it's like, what is that, 1 13/16. And he just welded a nut onto it. But if we come in here, let's see if we can get that on here. There we go. And then I can put my 17mm wrench up there. And we can turn that loose. So let me do that. I'll pull it out and show it to you. All right, we loosened it up. And there we go. We'll unscrew it and take our tool out of here. All right, now you need a rag right here, guys, because it's going to, these things are full of diesel and it's gonna get diesel everywhere, but we can pull it out here. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, there we go. See, I just pulled it out and I quickly wrapped the rag around the bottom. And there's our sending unit. You can see the diesel coming out. So we just need to let it drain. And then we'll go disassemble this, clean it up in the parts washer, make sure there's no debris on the inside. And then we'll be good. Let me see if we can actually hear it still turning. Okay, this one, I can hear the bobber actually moving in it. So I think it's going to be relatively clean, but we need to check it out anyway. All right, here's our sending unit. You can see that black stuff right there. That's just from years of diesel. Diesel is very dirty fuel. So that's why we're opening this up. Now I have a little notched, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's a notched screwdriver where I can get in here on the end. There's 2 notches. There we go, and we can undo the retaining nut. All right, we'll just set that aside. And now we have a cover plate here. Go ahead and clean that up. All right, now we can push the fuel level sender out. There we go. And let's see what this looks like. Okay, see that gunk that just came out? There we go. That's the stuff right there that we want to clean out. You can see that chunk of gunk that came out, and we also see all the gunkiness right here on the end. So this one's really not bad. It's not, see the bobber is still moving, but all that gunk would eventually start clogging things up and it would just build up over the years. So we're going to clean that off, clean out our tube, and then put it back together, and you won't have to do this again for, you know, another 30 years. All right, guys, where you need to be careful is, you probably can't even see this on the camera, but there's a copper wire, and then it looks like 2 aluminum wires or steel wires right here. And these are guide wires here that allow that bobber to guide back and forth. And then I think this one right here is where it measures the resistance of where that bobber is located, and it sends a resistance, an ohms reading, to your gauge. And based on the ohms reading, the gauge knows where to tell you your fuel level is. So be very careful. Those are thin wires. You don't want to break them. So we're just going to go ahead and clean that gunk out of here. There we go. See, now there's it is now gunk free. You don't really want to scrub it, just let the weight of the solvent, the cleaning fluid, get on there. If you don't have a wash tank, I don't know what to tell you. There we go. See, that's all clean now. All right, we'll set this aside and let's clean out our tube. Okay, the tube is relatively clean, but you can see, I don't know if you guys can see, down there at the bottom, yeah, we have some gunk build up right down here at the bottom. There we go, that's the stuff right there. So we're gonna clean out our tube. And then I just like to take Scotch-Brite, clean our tube up. There we go. Just get it reinstalled in the car and it'll be all nice and clean again. That's really not necessary to clean the tube, but I'm just OCD like that. Okay, there we go. Now that thing is perfectly clean. All right, here's our pieces laid out. Our tube, base plate, cover plate, and our little lock nut, or our retaining nut. And if you look here on this, there you go. You see that there's like a little notch or like a little tab right there. That little tab lines up with the little tab right there. So, and again, you want to be careful. Just do it slowly. Yeah, everything is moving very freely. There's a little gunk on the wire there. There we go. All right, you just stick this back on here. You line up our notch. There we go. Now, we'll stick our little plate back on the end. There we go. Then our retaining plate right there. And then we can screw back on our retaining nut there. And you don't need to get a new one. You can clean these up and just put them back together. All right, let's tighten this guy back down. All right, guys, there we go. Now listen. Here, our bobber. That is perfectly restored. Let's put it back in the car and get those shocks out. Before we reinstall it, there's a rubber O-ring gasket that goes right here on the base. So I grabbed another one of these and we can put that right there. If yours is worn out, replace it. If not, just put it back in. So we can put this back in here like this. And we'll just get it started by hand. Tighten her back down. There we go. And reconnect our power plug. Then let's put our cap back on. And we are done with that job. All right, let's get these shocks out of here. All right, you remember I put in our new hardware to temporarily hold it so it doesn't fall out. And now we'll just take those out and this shock will just fall right out of the car. All right, there we go. And there's the bushing and that cap that I showed you installing on the new shocks a minute ago. All right, just wanted to show you guys. This is the identical shock. Mercedes, the shocks were made by Bilstein. That's who made them for Mercedes. And there we go. We got our cap on there. Let's go ahead and get this back up in the car. All right, the tricky part about getting them in is there's a little hole at the top that we got to get this to line up with and stick through there. All right, and you can see it, like I can see it, the hole up there, and actually I got it lined up already. That went in there perfect. All right, put our new hardware in, and we'll go ahead and snug these down. All right, now let me torque those down and then we'll go back to the top of the car and reattach the bushings on top, and then we're done with the shocks. All right, before we lower the car back down and reattach the shocks up top, we're gonna go ahead, go up here and check our voltage regulator. Now the voltage regulator on the 85 is behind this plate, and there's some little screws that hold the plate on here. So we'll go ahead, I've already got them loose. And here they are right here. I'm just setting them right here. We'll get this plate off and then we'll get access to the voltage regulator. All right, once we have the plate loosened, you can pull it back like that. And there's our voltage regulator. And it's just some little Phillips head screws. So let me go ahead and take those off. And here is the best tool for that. It's just a little bitty 1/4 inch ratchet. with a screwdriver tip. There we go. Here we go. And we'll just screw these little guys out of here, and then we'll pull this voltage regulator out. All right, once we have those screws out, there's the voltage regulator. We just pull that guy out of here. Come on. All right, there we go. And we can see that this one is absolutely fine. The brushes are extremely thick. I'll go ahead and compare it to a new one. Okay, here we go. Here's our new one. And you can see the brushes are about halfway on our used one. There's our new one. So this one probably had another 75,000 miles or so on it. Not really necessary to change it, but we'll go ahead and put in our replacement just so it's brand new. Okay, we have our new one up in there, and I just want to tighten our screws back down here and put our cover plate back on, and then we're done with that job. Okay, we have that back in there and our plate put back on. Now the next thing I want to do, guys, is here we go. These are the flexible transmission cooler hoses. Now these are actually in really good shape, but they don't have the protective like braided or like spring coils over it. Here, let me show you. The ones you can get now, Rhine, that's the OEM manufacturer. See, they have this protective coil around it, and that protects it. Like down the road, if you ever have a belt break, that keeps it where. There you go. So I've already inspected this belt. It's excellent condition. These have already been replaced. However, down the road in the future, say 100,000 miles from now, you have a belt break and it slaps this, it won't slice it in half. I've had that happen to me, and when this slices in half, it dumps all your transmission fluid out and you can't drive the car. So to get those out, you just put a 19 millimeter here and we crack that loose, and we're gonna just unscrew it from the radiator. And then we need to put a 17 millimeter here to hold our line still, and then we'll crack this one loose here. We just unscrew this. So we're going to lose some transmission fluid, and that's okay. We're draining the fluid and replacing it later anyway. Well, we just pull this one off here. You'll see some fluid come out. We'll change this one here. Now, actually, guys, you don't lose enough fluid for it to make a difference. So you can do this without changing your transmission fluid, and you'll be fine. It only loses like, half a shot glass of fluid or something. All right, then we're gonna put this one right back up here. Oh, come on. All right, we get that screwed back on there, get that started. All right, then we need to tighten that back down. This is a pretty easy change, guys. It'll take you like, I don't know, it's gonna take me like 10 minutes to do both sides. And you just snug that up there. There we go. And then we want to snug this one up. And you want to hold this with a 17 millimeter. Like that, so you don't flex or bend your transmission hard line. And then you just tighten that back up. And there we go. And that's just a little preventative maintenance I just like to do. All right, let me do the other side, and then we'll go back to the shocks. Okay, there we go. We have these changed on both sides, and I've inspected our radiator hoses here. Absolutely no reason whatsoever to change these. Yeah, those might have been changed already. Those are just incredible condition. So there we go. We got these hoses here and here, and our new Bosch voltage regulator in there, and I've tightened down our cover plate. So let's go back to the shocks now. All right, guys, when you're putting the shocks back in, you need to go ahead and reinstall the rear wheels, because you want to put weight on the suspension to push that shock tower, the shock, the rod up through the body of the car so you can get the bushings back on there. And that's just my little tool where I can put the wheel on easy. And guys, just put it on, you only need like one lug bolt on there. Because we have to take these back off to bleed the brakes later. But just put one lug bolt on there to hold it so you can put some weight on it. Okay, there we go. We can see I've got our bushing. Push that back down there on the shock. Now, guys, when I redo these shocks, the bushings under the car, I like to use the new ones that come with the Bilsteins. However, the ones in the car, see if I can get this one back out of here. I like to use the original ones from Mercedes. You can see that's in, perfect condition because it's inside the car. Let me show you why I like to reuse these. Here we go. Here's the new ones that Bilstein sends. And see how thick those are? Look at the original Mercedes. See how thin it is? And what happens is once you put this one on, there's really not enough threads to put your cover plate on and screw the nut back onto the shocks. So I always like to reuse these. And you can see that bushing is perfect condition. There's nothing wrong with it, and there's no reason you can't reuse them because it's been inside the car. It doesn't get exposed to the elements. So let's go ahead and get these reinstalled. All right, we got our bushing in there. And I also like to reuse the original Mercedes cover plates just because they're zinc plated, and the ones that Bilstein sends you are just regular old, I guess galvanized or silver colored. And I like the zinc plated ones, even though no one will ever see that again. So we'll pop that on there, and then they include a new lock nut. And we'll go ahead and screw that down. Now, for these lock nuts, you have to get a little wrench on the top right there. See that it's the flat edges. You got to hold it still while you tighten it down. All right, let me show you what I was talking about. See, if we get our wrench on there, if I try to tighten it, see how it just spins the shock? So you got to take a small wrench and you put it right around there. See if I can do this with one hand here. And then you spin it till it hits up against the side of the vehicle. Hang on. There we go. See how it's now pressing against the car? And you can go ahead and tighten it, and it holds it still as you torque it down. So let me do this on both sides, then we'll get the seats back in. Okay, there we go. Have our lock nut, cover plate, bushing, and we just put our cap back on here. And we're done with that job. Also, I was just noticing something here on the back door. The condition of all the door straps on this car, those are the straps that, lock the door into one or position 2 when you're opening and closing it. They are in incredible condition. Watch how firm it is. And you shut the door, but watch, I'll open it and then kind of let go. They are in such good condition. They're not worn at all. I don't know if anybody even sat back here. Okay, we are done, both sides. Let's put back our original insulation. And it just clips over right there, or a seatbelt around it. And you clip it over right there. Pull our seatbelt around. Okay, let's go ahead and put the seat back in. That's heavy. Okay, the trick to this, guys, I don't know if you can see it. You want to make sure you get your seat belts pulled around it and underneath the little clips on the bottom that you put the 8mm bolt back in, or else you'll be doing the job again because your seat belt will be stuck behind the seat. All right, pull around that little clip. There we go. Okay, then we got to lift it up. we go. And it slips right on there. All right. Oh, check that out. Here's the original build sheet for the car. I'm going to put this in the glove box. Check it out. This is pretty cool. That's the original build sheet. It was under the back seat. It tells you all the codes and all the options for the vehicle. That's pretty neat. I'm going to go put this in the glove box. All right. We've got our little screws back in here. All right. Let's get this one down under here. I don't know if I can record that for you guys. There it is. All right, now let's get the one over there, and then let's get the seat bottom back in. Now, keep in mind, Scott has not cleaned the interior. The back seat's a little dirty, so he will do that once I get it over to the detail shop. Now, you got to pull up your seatbelt buckles here. There we go. Get this one, and then get our straps here. All right, now this just slides back into place and then clips right back down. There we go. All right, let me get this side attached here. There we go. All right, guys, mission accomplished. Okay, I'm under the car, and earlier in my inspection, I noticed the one of the exhaust hangers was missing. Now it's weird because this one has been replaced and is in excellent condition. I guess they just replaced one and didn't replace the other, and then the other one broke. So anyway, I got another one I'm going to put up on here. So anyway, the one I have in the parts store over there is gray, but I mean, the color doesn't matter. We just need to get a new one on here. So anyway, the trick is you kind of get it up on one, and then you get a screwdriver in here, down around your clip. There we go. And you like pull it together. Whoop. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Now we got two good ones on there now. This is not going anywhere. And I'm just inspecting the ones up here. Now that has the slightly different design. And that thing, that's actually showing no wear at all on it. Just look at this one. Yeah, these things are awesome. Definitely don't need to change those. So now we're good to go. All right, here's the latest update. We put another exhaust hanger. Yeah, I know that one's gray. Sorry, I do not have a black one in stock. All the rear end has been refinished. Look how beautiful that looks. There's our new Bilstein shocks, sway bar end links, hoses, calipers, rotors, pads. Looks beautiful under here. Here's our Bilstein shock there. And let's go around up here to the front of the car. Look how nice that looks, you guys. All brand new. Guys, that's as good as it gets. That's how you want it. So, hope you enjoyed this latest video. I think the next video will probably be fluids, filters, general maintenance, and the air conditioner. So stay tuned. The next video will be coming soon, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.